What are the big milestone things that are coming that you want to be prepared for? Are you traveling somewhere cool? Do you have a new business idea that you want to get out and add more value and help more people? You have grandkids on the way. I want you to think about the next decade of your life. What milestones do you know are coming? Today is important, really important. We're going to talk about something bigger than money. Bigger than money. How many of you ever felt unprepared for a big life moment? Not because you lacked the desire, but because the money wasn't there. And how many of you would like a financial partner that was always there for you? If you're tired of playing financial Tetris with a dozen accounts, each with its own rule book, hoping, praying that it's all going to work out in the end, if that's you, you're in the right place. If it's not you, you're still in the right place. So, first, high five. Well done for showing up today. You're in the minority. You're here because you care. You care about your family, your future, and living a life of freedom and purpose. And here's what you're going to walk away with today: a brand new mindset for managing money that adapts to your life, not the other way around. Not a reactive system, but a proactive system, a system that lets you fund milestone moments without wrecking your long term goals, and a strategy that's flexible, renewable, and built for real life, not just retirement calculators showing you what might happen. Let me start off by telling you why I care so deeply about this. Is that okay with you guys? My whole life, I've been stressed about money. And a few years ago, we went on a ski trip with our boys. And normally, this would have been stressful. Scrambling to move money from one account to another, maybe swiping a credit card, maybe opening a new credit card, maybe opening a 0% credit card. But that year was different. We used a policy loan. It was smooth. There was no debt, no guilt. And the best part, our money never stopped working, even while we were using it. While we were having fun, while we were skiing, the money kept growing and it kept protecting. That moment, that moment changed how I see this whole system. It's not just about the numbers, it's about the feeling of freedom. It's about feeling secure and confident. And today, I want to help you unlock that same freedom for your family. We want to show you how you can use the infinite banking concept to fund your life's biggest moments with peace of mind. Going to walk you through real life examples, key milestones, and show you the numbers of how the system works behind the scenes. You're going to walk away with a practical plan to start designing your own policy funded milestones. And I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you to name the moments that you want to fund. So start thinking, because it's coming. Because when you can name it, when you can name them, the moments, you can then plan for it. So let's dive in. Let me go ahead and share. So let's dive into this. So, what if your life had a built in bank that said yes to every big moment? Oh, that's fun. I didn't know what that would look like, but it made me laugh today, so I added it in. So, here's the big problem: the financial world, they want to put you in a box, right? They want to put you in a box. And you can't be put in a box, right? You can't put baby in a corner. So life doesn't work that way, right? They're not going to be able to put your age group, your income bracket, your net worth into a category. Think about this. Someone might be 42 and their needs might look totally different from your neighbor's needs at 42. Or however old you are, your needs at that time is going to look different than someone else's needs. And your opportunities don't wait until you've hit your number, your magic number. Life isn't always waiting for you to be ready. It just keeps going. So in life, instead of life happening to us, what if it felt like everything was happening for us, no matter what? Life is happening and it's happening fast. What we're going to show you today is how infinite banking, using this specially engineered, cash rich, whole life insurance from a mutually owned, dividend paying company, lets you fund the life you want in the season you're in without wrecking long term security. You guys like the sound of that? Get away from Fozzie and driving. So let's start with one of the most, I said we were going to get rid of stress, but let's talk about one of the most stressful moments for us parents. First car, right? When maybe you have a fifth grader or sixth grader like we do, and you know it's coming. We went through it once already, and it's scary. First, the stress of making sure they learn how to drive and whether or not you're brave enough to teach them how to drive. But then you got to start thinking about, what are they going to drive? Are they going to drive our vehicle? Are we going to help them get a vehicle? There's like this mixed bag of emotions that comes. Like, how many of you in the chat have had your kids drive already, or you're about to? So you might think when you're looking for your kid's first car, well, maybe they should get a beater. This is what I used to think. Maybe they should get a beater like I did. I remember when I had no AC, I had no odometer, and I used to have a stick hold up the window. Oh, wait, that's my wife's car. But I used to have a stick that would hold the window shut. Otherwise, when it rained, my car would get wet. That's what she used to tell me. So we both drove beaters. But no, we don't want that for our kid. We want them to arrive safe. We want them to feel confident, to feel proud of what they're driving. That first car is like freedom. It's like when I had a bicycle the first time. And let's look at the traditional ways that you would finance that. You traditionally are going to finance a car, right? I know how everyone else is buying cars. Not us, not you guys, but all them. They're all buying cars. They're saving up and paying cash for it. You see the soap writing on the car as you drive by, $4,500, only 140,000 miles on it. Or you're going to go finance it, which means that unless you have really good credit or you've been playing their game, you're going to maybe pay more than you need to, because logic says, well, they're letting you finance it because it's a really good business. That's why they're dressed so well. That's why this place is so big. Or you're going to lease it, which means you're just renting it, and you're renting it for a teenager. Well, that seems kind of crazy. I don't know. One, you got to worry about the mileage, the condition. It's pretty typical, especially for boys, to run into stuff, back into stuff, pull over a curb, and then back out over the curb and rip the whole bottom of the car. You got that sound. So what if there's a better way where you've built the system and you started thinking about it way earlier than this moment? That way, when the moment arrives, guess what? You can go with confidence. You can go negotiate. You can actually make it a family event to go to the auto dealer and be like, hey, I'll give you X amount for this car. We'll pay in cash. How can you pay in cash? You might say, well, you take a loan from your policy. You can walk in with cash. And you say, hey, you could take this or not. And you can show your kid, your daughter or your son, how to do it, how to have a negotiation, how not to have any feelings attached to it. It's just business. And then you can show them how you can keep all that money in your family by paying it back. Let's click to the next one and show with your policy. This might be a little small, but it shows at 16, which is driving age here in Florida, Connor will have, his policy that we control, that we own, that I own, will have almost $58,000 of cash value. It'll probably have more than that in it. But that is just from putting money consistently in over 7 years of his life. Now we're still, 5+ years away from this moment, but we're starting smaller. He's starting, he's about to buy his first computer to do editing and do other things. And he's already talking about how he's going to pay his system back. And this will just be a bigger example of that. So now we're teaching our kids how banking works. How many of you honestly were taught how this works? I wasn't. I had no idea how to buy my first car at 26. I had just taken whatever beater came my way and was always grateful. My dad always made sure I was taken care of, but we never talked about it. And I just thought that just now. We never talked about it, ever. And it was wild. Like, thinking back, I'm like, wow, I had 3 vehicles and I have no idea how my dad got them. I think one, he traded a motorcycle for it. It was a 4-wheel drive Eagle station wagon The thing was a beast. And, now we have a system that's going to grow with us through the lifetime. And so this is the same thing that we use for um, the same policy that we're using for all the ski trips. So you can use it for whatever you want it for. And you have control on how you're going to pay it back, when you're going to pay it back, but you want to pay it back. And you want to pay it back sooner because the sooner you pay it back, the less interest you pay, the more you can use the policy again for when life happens again. Because I guarantee, even though it's happening for us, it's always happening. And here's another big one. What about those that have daughters? What about a wedding? They're beautiful, they're meaningful, and they're really expensive. I looked this up. The average cost of weddings right now, 35 grand. No wonder people are going and eloping and going and getting married on the beach, right? I know back in when we had our party, because we were already married, we eloped. But when we had our party, I think I spent like $24,000 that year in 2010 on our wedding. Cash gone forever. Man, can you imagine if I used a policy loan, paid ourselves back, then we had the party, the fun, the memories, and the money and the protection to start our new life together, me and my beautiful warrior goddess. I mean, that is something that when that day comes for your kids, for your grandkids, or even for yourself, are you paying for it like I did, out of pocket, swiping a credit card, pulling from investments, borrowing against investments at the wrong time, where you were reactive because it surprised you that someone's getting married and they fell in love and it was at that time? Or have you been proactive over time, building something up that's going to be meaningful, that's manageable, that you control, that is away from the government, away from our favorite uncle, Uncle Sam? He's cool, but I don't want him at the wedding. Do you? And so when you pull that policy loan, here's the magic. You don't have to decide between giving up the wedding of your dreams or protecting your retirement. You capital keeps compounding and you're paying back your system. So now you're building forward for the next thing. Maybe the next thing, and this is the cool thing I said before all this, I'm about to share with you guys. Maybe the cool thing is something that's unexpected. Maybe the cool thing when you're building for your kids' education, not every kid follows the same path, and that's okay. Actually, I think it's more than okay. I think we all need to find our own passion, our own path. Some are going to head to college, some are going to head to trade school, some to military service, some want to go on mission trips. Maybe some are going to grow their own business right out of school. Remember, we're goal together is to make sure our next generation is more prepared and better than we are as the parents. Or maybe you're not a parent yet, but to make sure that we're better than we are. And so when you're looking at these milestones and how much they cost, the travel, I just talked to a guy yesterday. He's like, "Oh, my kid's college, he did so many credits at a JUCO, and it really saved us like 2 years of tuition. I think we're gonna have for the last 2 years and maybe some post grad. I think it'll be manageable, maybe $175,000 in debt." The number one asset for the US government is student loan debt. 34% of our country's assets financially are student debt. So wouldn't it be a better way, if that's so valuable for the US government, if we, the people, had control of that we grew our fund and that we helped our kids know how to think and borrow from our family policy and pay it back? Or then maybe in life, like I talked to some of you that are just burned out, you know, just done. You've been doing the same thing for years and years, trading time for money. You're like, you know what? I expect better for myself. I'm going to raise my floor. I'm going to raise my standards. I'm going to take it to the next level. But to do that, maybe you need a sabbatical. Anybody here feel like you need some rest? Just pop a me in the chat if you feel like, man, like life here in the States, from what I've talked to people who come from other countries, it's not easy. Yes, it has all the promise, all the hope, all the possibility, but it costs a lot of money. And so if you're always reactive, if you're always taking from banks, always taking loans or paying cash, you're always staying at that zero line, which Kiyosaki calls the rat race. And so I'm going to go into, let's just quickly look at this one. I'm going to go into what I was sharing about what I'm so grateful for and just amazed I get to share it with you guys today. Financing your first home. Like imagine you're 25 years old and your system, when you go to buy a new home, has over $177,000 of cash, tax-free cash in it, a loan that you could take to start your life. And then you're going to pay back the system. Because why? Because life's going to keep happening. So you set up the plan and you're paying yourself back. So none of this, if you guys are following, none of this means anything is for free. That isn't a thing. So if you're here to get rich quick or for something that's too good to be true, it's not that. It's that we're planning long term, we're being proactive, and we're setting up a system that grows with us over time. Over time. That is the secret of uninterrupted compound interest. That's how the wealthy know that money doesn't grow in a linear fashion. It grows exponentially when the compounding is uninterrupted and especially when it's tax free. So here's what I wanted to share with you guys. So my bank, I got this right at 5 minutes before I started. My bank is currently funding my business startup, rebuilding an '07 Freightliner for my trucking business. Once I pay that back, my son and his friends are going to form an LLC to start a mobile repair business, which my bank will fund. I'm sending them to air brake school and alignment school. They will be certified in air brake and alignments, plus have a mobile big rig repair business, which is a good way to make money doing something you love doing. Winning thanks to our family bank. Appreciate you, Jason. All loans pay me 10% interest was the next text. Is that not incredible? Like round of applause for Anthony. That is incredible. I did not expect it. I did not know that was going to happen today. That's exactly what we're talking about. His system is adjusting because he's being an honest banker and he's able to expand what's possible. That's a real life example in the moment. It is so cool. And so I just wanted to share that. And as always, like, smash, subscribe, spread the word of infinite banking. This, as I always joke around, is a big ass bust. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers. We're going to get there any day. So keep spreading the message. Everyone deserves to know this. This shouldn't be just a few. People ask me all the time, Jason, why doesn't everyone do this? I honestly don't know. I rack my brain thinking, how could we get more people into something that they control, that they can use, that is good for them, and not only for them, but for all the generations in the future? This is it. This is the mission. So ring that bell so it turns blue so you get all alerted to all the new content. Subscribe if you haven't already. Smash the button. And let's keep spreading this message, inviting more people. Let's have the goal to be well over hundreds of people here every week with us and tens of thousands and millions of people practicing this and sharing messages like Anthony. I can't wait to see the next message come from one of you. Send those to us. We read them. We'll share them. I'll even put them in the webinar last minute without having that part of the plan. And so here's where it's a little bit more interactive. It's time to make this real. You guys ready? Ready to get into it? I want you to think about the next decade of your life. What milestones do you know are coming? Pop some in the chat or write them in your notebook if you're not driving. And so on the count of 3, maybe shout it out. I know we have vacations. We have a vacation home. Like we have the car I was talking about. So We're going to talk about this tomorrow in an all-day money meeting. So type them in the chat. What are some of the things? We got a new big rig. What else we got? What else do you guys want? What are the big milestone things that are coming that you want to be prepared for? Are you traveling somewhere cool? Do you have a new business idea that you want to get out and add more value and help more people? You have grandkids on the way. I know I have multiple teammates have just had baby boys. Congrats to both of them. They have a lot to plan for. They should be watching this video. Where are they? Fire, first house, kids, college. I love it. Debt payoffs, whatever it might be, anchor that for yourself. And then let's look at what's your lifestyle going to look like at passive income time. Remember, all the numbers I'm showing you are from one specially engineered policy. And they might not make sense. You just look at wall numbers, but the idea is look at how rapidly the money has grown over the years. We've put in 600 or 300 and some $1,000 into this, and it has over $1 million in cash value by the time Connor is 60. That is still a long time away for him. 50, not 51 years, but it's 50 or 49 years away for Connor. Good math, Jason. But at that time, think what he can do. He'll already know how to put that money to work. So, he'll make 12%, 15%, 18%, maybe more. I don't know. And I don't know how much $12,000 to $18,000 a month is at that time, but I know it'll help. And I know he'll have more of these systems. And so if we all think long range, and we start paying ourselves first, we pay ourselves back by recapturing and recycling the debt, and we keep practicing the most valuable job in the world, which is banking. I want to say parenting. It's the toughest job in the world, but banking is a job that keeps everything going. Imagine if banks just shut down. And we kind of look at banks as the bad guys, as the evil empire, but banks keep things going. Banks let us buy the food we want. Banks let us buy the cars we want, the gas we want, the homes we want. But if it's such a valuable business and it makes the world go round, again, common sense would say, let's bring it back to the you and me level. Let's bring banking back to the you and me level. So we've been walking through what it looks like to have a big vision, to set up life to happen for you, not to you. So now you might be wondering, how do you do it? How can we start this, Jason? It sounds super cool. So here's a quick mechanics. You're going to fund the policy with premium deposits into your specially engineered policy. That money starts compounding from day one. It grows over time. It's probably growing at an average of 5 to 6% per year. There's a guaranteed interest and you're getting dividends. So that's with dividends. And then when the milestone comes, you borrow the cash value by taking a loan. That keeps your money earning. So now you are saving, you're spending other people's money, and simultaneously you're protecting your family. You have that peace of mind for when that day comes, when graduation comes. Then you pay yourself back. And it's your schedule, not someone else's schedule. That way your capital is ready for the next milestone. I talked to someone, this is what you don't do. I had this conversation recently with someone who started a policy a few years ago now, and they bought a $70,000 car. And it was our understanding when we set this up that they were going to pay that back over a period of years. Well, they haven't paid it back at all. And now they're wondering, well, what do we do when we need the next one? And I was like, well, start paying it back now. Yes, the car's already 3 years old, but when's a better time than now? Luckily, you have the flexibility to take care of your banking system, but make sure you're doing that. We want to be honest bankers. When we go and take a loan out of the bank, just to make a point, how many of you have ever just stopped paying the bank? What happens? They come get the stuff. It's no longer yours. So you wouldn't treat your bank less. You wouldn't treat their bank better than yours. You want to look at it as an account, a partner, and not just a bank. We already talked about this, how we went, and it changed my world to know when we went skiing that time. While I was sitting there, I remember going out one night and we were all downtown in Park City, and we're sitting there, and it was a pretty nice restaurant. I mean, we're having burgers, but it's still a pretty nice restaurant. And just looking at my boys, looking at the t-shirts we had bought with Park City on them, and the outfits and the ski outfits and the stuff, and I felt proud as a dad. And I didn't feel any stress. I was happy to get appetizers and dessert. And for me, might not be a big deal for you guys, but for me, it was a kind of a big deal that I was like, wow, I'm not worried about how much this cost. This is an experience that I am able to provide. And I know that we're going to take care of this system that we've created for the next time, for the next year. And we've been doing this every year for 3 or 4 years now. And so this is where I want to flip the switch. I was kind of saving this for the end, but when I asked you how many of you would want a partner that was going to be there whenever you needed them for your whole life, a companion, if you will. So now we start looking at the policy as not just a specially engineered whole life policy, but a partner. And the policy isn't a bill you have to pay. It's a partner that's growing with you, adapting to your seasons and saying yes when the banks are going to say no. When the market says, sorry, we're down 20% this year, it's probably not a good time to pull a loan against your stocks. You don't have to wait until you're rich enough or the timing is perfect. It's always going to have been better before, last year, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But life's happening now, and your system should be ready now, not later. So here's your homework. I already asked you what your milestones are, but today, tonight, take some time, reflect. Don't let, as always, don't let this experience pass you by to be entertained. If you're entertained, awesome, because, well, I don't know that I'm that entertaining, but I want you to list your next 3 big milestones in the next 10 years. I'm going to do the same exercise. If you ask me, I'll let you know. Just ask us, ask Patty and myself. Assign an estimated cost to each of them. How much is the next house going to cost? The next car, the next thing, the next sabbatical, the next vacation, the new business. And then ask yourself, if it happened tomorrow, if that opportunity presented tomorrow, where's the money going to come from? And then let's design that policy for those moments without compromise to make sure that you're ready and maybe even more than ready. So the policies, they're not for someday, right? They're not for someday. They're for every day. They're for all of the stuff that's going to happen. So let's bring this full circle. Let's land this plane together. Today we've covered how life's biggest moments, from your first cars to your weddings, sabbaticals, I didn't even talk about tiling, but to giving. They don't have to be funded with stress. We showed you one policy delivering a lifetime of fun: ski trips, cars, homes, and passive income in retirement. This is how your policy can become a flexible, renewable tool, a partner to fund life without compromise. And how can you start thinking in milestones, not market cycles, not day to day, not month to month? And I told you earlier about the ski trip. I mentioned it a few times. How was the first time we used our system not just to manage money, but to live life on purpose. This was our first step after debt. So not a one-time event. And we're using our policies to fund college plans, future sabbaticals, even care for loved ones. And the truth is, it's not about timing it perfectly. It's about being ready when life says it's time. So the purpose today was to give you a way to say yes to life's most meaningful moments with no regrets, no guilt, and not owing someone else for a lifetime. How do you do this? By funding a properly designed, specially engineered, cash-rich, whole life policy from a mutually owned company and use it to access your capital, repay on your terms, and repeat. And why? Because peace of mind, that feeling of freedom, the flexibility, the momentum, the generational impact. So now it's your move. You've written down or you're going to write down your 3 milestones. What's it going to feel like to fund those with confidence versus thinking, oh man, how do I do this? I wish I could have done that. So, whether you're new here, as some of you are new, and you're ready to start this system, scan the QR code. I was going to grab this and put it in the chat as well. You can scan the QR code or you can click on that to, my calendar's filling up pretty rapidly these days. A lot of people with the market, with where things are, want to have that conversation to get started. So book the call, scan the QR code, and do it today. Whether you're starting fresh or expanding your banking system, our team's ready to walk with you. And don't forget, the method is train, test, which means do, and teach others. So let's spread this movement because the policies aren't just for someday, they're for every season. Thank you for being here as always. And let's go live life funded by design, not by accident. Again, scan the QR code. And as always, I'm so grateful, extremely grateful, just blessed out of my mind. So thank you. And together, let's be the leaders that change America one family at a time. Spread the word, smash the button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell to be alerted to all the new content. We're gaining momentum. We're going to be over 1,000 subscribers any day. So let's fill up this big infinite banking bus and have a party. I'm going to see you on the next video here. Thank you all. Be blessed.